We talk a lot on this show about leadership. We talk about toxic leadership. We talk about what it means to be an effective leader and how to take care of employees in the workplace. And as I reflect on the events that have been happening lately with these mass shootings, and especially last night, I tend to question, where is our leadership? Where is the government leadership? And why aren't they doing more to protect the people, just like we expect leaders in the workplace to do for employees? When you think about things like the Great Resignation and this whole labor activism movement right now, it is people really taking charge and control over their treatment in the workplace. And then we have the government backing these actions and supporting these unions and these employees taking these stances to do better for their work environment. But these same governments is not doing anything to advocate for the lives of Americans. We all can relate to sentiments of employees feeling like these are billion-dollar corporations, so they have the money to invest, to take care of us, to pay us fairly, and to create safer work environments for us. And we all look at Amazon and say that. We look at Tesla and say, you can afford to do that and not have discrimination in your workplace, to the point of the state of California needing to get involved to help support these employees that are not being taken care of under your watch yet. And still, we have a government that does not see their role or responsibility in taking care of American people. How can 50 senators sit here because of profit and what they're gaining from the NRA, the National Rifle Association, towards their campaign, and with integrity and morals, not do anything to change the laws that are hurting people? We are so quick to point the finger about these corporations valuing profits over people when it comes to employees, but the same doesn't hold true with the governmental leaders who value profits over people, as we see here, when there is an easy change that could be made. There is legislature pending for votes that just won't go through because people are concerned about profiting and power over saving lives. The lack of care and concern that we're blaming these companies for having towards employees is the same lack of care and concern that our leaders, these senators, our president is exhibiting over caring for the lives of people that are continuously hurt and murdered at the sake of guns. And the even more ironic part of this puzzle for me that I just don't understand is the fact that the same political party that is so, pro guns and of the mindset that more guns means that we're safer, and it's a granted right for the Second Amendment that you have the right to bear arms. And what's an even more ironic piece of this puzzle for me is that the same political party that supports free gun rights and minimal control and power over gun laws, the same political party that is so pro-life is not showing that same sentiment when it comes to saving the lives of living, walking, breathing, talking Black Americans who go to a grocery store on a weekend, Asians who sit in a synagogue to worship, employees innocently going to work to do their jobs, and children innocently going to school to learn and grow. Where is the pro-life sentiment here when it comes to your ability to do something about the guns that are so easily accessible by anybody with no background checks, and it's killing people? Where is the pro-life? Why don't their lives matter as much as strong as you are when it comes to abortion rights? John Maxwell has this quote that says leadership is not about titles or flowcharts or organization. It's about a person's ability to influence. And I beg to differ, especially here, because leadership has everything to do about titles. Because it's the titles that give you the authority, it's the title that gives you the responsibility, and it's a title that gives you the ability to have the impact to change what is necessary. You have several hundreds of thousands of people saying, do something about gun laws, but there's no impact because they hold no title. And the people with the titles who have the ability to drive the change and make the impact don't do it. Leadership has everything to do with titles, because it's the people with the titles that aren't doing anything. Title comes with authority. And last night, our president said, we need to do something different to lobby against the gun control policies and legislature and laws. And Mr. President, it's not a we, it's a you. You hold the title, you hold the authority. You need to do something different. We tell leaders in the workplace all the time, focus on what you can control to drive the change that's warranted by the people who need it. President, focus on what you can control to drive the change based on the people who need it, based on the lives that are innocently lost. You're doing exactly what we tell employees not to do. When they sit in a performance conversation and their leader begins to tell them how they're not fulfilling the responsibilities of their role, and that employee begins to tell what everybody else isn't doing and how they need support here and there, and that leader will stop them and say, no, I need you to be accountable for your role in this. I need you to take some ownership on what you're going to do differently so that you can meet this expectation. That same holds true here. It's not about, President, what the senators aren't doing. It's not about what anybody else isn't doing. It's about what you need to do as a leader of this country, holding the title with that authority to make the change that's killing people's lives. It's the same level of passion that you have against these employers who aren't taking care of employees that you should be exhibiting to take care of the American lives that are being lost to laws that can be controlled by the federal government. It's accountability that is missing here. It's accountability that needs to happen so that change can happen. The same level of expectation that we have from leaders in the workplace is the same leadership that you should be exuding as leaders over this country and this democracy. As a society, we've drifted away from humanity. We've drifted away from love. We've drifted away from compassion. The three things that we're asking workplace leaders to have when they're encountering with employees, we've drifted away from as a society. We've become more concerned with profits. We've become more concerned with power, presence. We equate that to success. If there's any advice I would give to any leader watching this, it would be that as a leader, you should always lead from a place seeking the best intentions for others unselfishly. Do not look for our government to be an example of that. Do not look for these senators to be an example of that, but be a leader that leads with unselfish intentions, because only then will you be someone worth following, and only then will you be someone who can drive influence and change. We don't need any more people playing the blame game. We don't need anybody blaming anybody else for what's happening today. What we need is our leadership, our president, our vice president, our cabinet members, our government, our Senate, our Congress, all of these people with the titles who have the authority to drive change. We need you to do your job. We need you to stop playing the blame game, and we need you to start taking care of the American people the same way that we're expecting these employers and these organizations to take care of the employees. Be an example of what we're suffering with in the workplace, because until you can do that, they have no reason to change there either. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Let's Get Plugged podcast. I am LaShawn Davis. I am your host. I am the founder and CEO of the HR Plug, and this is how we needed to start this evening, because this is what's lingering over me since I heard last night about yet again another mass shooting that this time involved children at a school in Texas. And if you saw the video just now, it's time for us to really start advocating for what we need our leaders to do for us, no different than the employees right now at Amazon and at Starbucks and at Apple are standing up to their leaders and advocating what they need done for them. And every episode talk about leadership and what it means to be an effective leader and how you're supposed to treat people, how you're supposed to value people. And it dawned on me that everything that I work to help leaders in the workplace understand is what's absent right now in our own government. And so I wanted to share my thoughts and feelings. I had a lot of questions about that because last Wednesday, we talked about the Buffalo shooting and we talked about the employees that were impacted. Not to know this Wednesday we'd be on the same topic, talking about another shooting. people who went to work, teachers who went to work and did not come home, students who went to school and did not come home, and nothing is being done to drive change. So that is why I wanted to share that with you guys, because that was what was on my heart, and that was something that needed to get said. Because if we're going to hold leadership accountable in the workplace, we need to be consistent and hold leaders accountable everywhere. And so, if you're joining us tonight, I want to thank you for joining us, whether you're watching us live on YouTube and whether you're listening to us on audio streaming. Either way, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And if you're watching, go ahead and drop a comment and let me know that you're here, that you see me, where you are, because I just really want to show gratitude, especially announcing that I've been able to reach 2,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, and I never would have thought in 5 months that could have been accomplished, and it is, and it's because of you. It's because of you watching. It's because of you supporting. And it's because of you're interested in these topics. And so I just want to thank you. I appreciate you. And I want to encourage those who might be watching or listening who have not gone to this YouTube page and subscribe to the HR Plug channel. Make sure you do that, because it does mean a lot to me to know that what we talk about here is something that matters to you. And so tonight we're going to be talking to Melissa Allen, and Melissa is with us, and she's going to be talking about her career. As you know, we've been doing these life as a positions, and hers is life as a truck driver, but not just any truck driver. She's a female truck driver. And for those of you who know, the truck driving industry, the transportation industry in itself, is very much so male dominated. And I've known Melissa, for a very long time, and haven't spoken to her though in a very long time. So I am glad that she's here, and I just want to welcome her to the show and have her come out and just let us know. Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Hey, I'm
Listen,
good.
thank you so much for joining tonight, and having the conversation with
It's my
us.
pleasure.
Yeah, because you are in an industry that is dominated by men. And not only are you in this industry, but you are doing it. You've been promoted, you're now leading, and you're killing the game. And so I just wanted you to come on and just tell us a little bit about what it is like being a truck driver as a female in a male dominated industry, and what do you love about it and what do you hate about it, and just kind of talk to us a little bit about it, because there could be people who are interested in doing it and maybe just don't know if they should because they're a female. And I just wanted you, number one, to be recognized for what you're doing, driving change, breaking
Thank
barriers,
you.
and then two, encourage anybody else who might be interested in doing the same.
Well, I would say it started I would say like maybe 8 or 9 years ago. One of my friends, they kind of like showed me like, just playing around how to drive a truck and stuff like that. But at that time, I really wasn't interested in driving trucks. I was like, not for me, but thank you. But it took me coming to Amazon, and you know I was like, I need to do something more than just delivering packages. I was like, I need to get my CDL. So as soon as I got my CDL, Amazon then had me start driving. They started me out doing box truck, and then I ultimately started driving trailers. Like, I've driven from box trucks to 26-foot trucks to
Wow.
trailers to eight. Like, I've done it all. I love it. But I've definitely surprisingly have had people tell me that I need to be behind the desk, mostly black women, which I was really shocked by that, because you would think that they would give you like, hey, like, you're doing a thing out there, because you don't really see females or female truck drivers at that, especially like here in New York. It's very rare. And
Mm.
it's like, it's bad enough that, okay, I'm a female, I'm a black female, I'm the only female driver at my job.
Wow.
You
Really?
have to deal with like, yeah. So it's like, being a female truck driver, you have to deal with, harassment, not necessarily like, in the job, but outside of the job, when you're out there on the road, you'll have men come up to you and harass you, or you have to
Wow.
kind of like deal with people trying to rob you. And because I've had an
Wait.
incident where a guy stole my wallet. Like, it's a lot,
So
it's
there's
not
there's
it's
a
not an
lot.
easy job.
Well, let me ask this
It's not
question
an easy
because
job.
you said something that was very interesting. You are the only female?
Yeah, so my company has never hired a female before.
Wow.
Um, they've been around for, I would say, maybe 40 plus years, and I'm the first and only female driver that
Wow.
they have. And,
Wow.
coming here, I was kind of like, nervous, because I'm like, here I am, I'm here with a bunch of dudes. And it's like, now I have to feel like I have to prove myself to
Mm.
show these guys like I could do the job just as good as you. And, I've been deemed one of the top drivers and stuff like that. So it definitely has its challenges, but the male drivers here, they welcome me with open arms. They're very like helpful in the beginning of my career, and I love it. I wouldn't
Wow.
trade this career for nothing in the world. I don't see myself doing anything else but truck driving.
Wow. Were you intimidated the first time you said you drove like a 20 whatever you said foot trailer truck? Were you intimidated the first time you walked up to that truck?
Oh my gosh, I was like, okay, all right, let's let's get it together, because you go through training and you do what you're supposed to do, but when you're actually on your own, it's a different ball game.
Yes.
So when I had to actually go out on my own, I was like, Lord, I hope I don't hit nobody's car. I hope, I don't, do something that I'm not supposed to do. Because when you're driving trucks, especially like if you want to do like state to state, I always download, there's a CDL trucking app. So in New York, of course, trucks can't be on the parkways because of low bridges and stuff like that. Like, I've seen trucks get the top of their truck peeled back. I've
Oh,
seen
wow.
trucks, flip over, so I usually communicate with other CDL drivers that's outside of New York, and they kind of like, help me out and let me know like certain ways to go, like when I first started out. So
Mm. Well, let
people,
me
if you
say.
want to drive trucks, download a CDL app.
Well, wait, let's talk about that. But before I do, let me just say there's a lot of people encouraging you over here in the comments, and I just wanted you to know. So we have HR Sixpack who's with us. Hi, HR Sixpack. Influential leadership. Excited to hear your story, Melissa. So she's here.
Thank you.
JP says, very inspiring, Melissa. Women are truly powerful. We can do anything. And you're kind of showing that. Like you are
Thank you,
showing
guys.
that. You are showing that. And so, this is so interesting. So when you came in, and it is also good to hear that the men were very welcoming to you, and I'm sure it was different for them as well. Like I'm sure it had to
Yeah,
be.
because when I walked in and my supervisor was like, "This is our new driver," they was like, "We have a female driver." Like, they were so excited because they had to deal with each other for so many years. And now that they see like a female, I think, I could be wrong, they probably had a pool going to see how long I was going to stay here, but I proved them wrong. And I like to just get my work done and just go home. Like, I don't play around when I'm out there on the road, because when you're driving, you have to be observant with other people that's on the road.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where, I'm driving and a car would just suddenly cut in front of me. And people have to understand, like, when we're driving big trucks, we can't just stop on our brakes as if we're in a small car.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
cut us off, there's a good chance that you're going to get run over. So
Wow.
it's
Wow.
definitely, it's a lot that goes with, because they hold us to a higher standard when you have a CDL.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that we have
Mm-hmm.
more responsibilities when you have a CDL. So they expect us to know and do better.
Wow. And so, from the safety piece, so you talked about too, like when you're out, it's also more risk because as a female, you've had your wallet stolen and things like that. So is your employer, are they supportive in that area? Like, when you have to explain these things with them, and have they done anything differently as far as safety goes?
They they're definitely supportive because I mean we we have drivers that when they're at a specific stop or maybe at another distributor, and you'll have people, random people that'll come off the street and they'll see, okay, somebody's truck is open in the back, even though that the person may be
Mm,
getting all the stuff together for that particular stop. One person will come and just grab something and run off with it.
mm,
So, we have some drivers that have partners, but for me, I like to work by myself because I move at a certain pace, and I
mm-hmm,
just feel like having somebody else in the truck with me slows me down. But I'm definitely, since my wallet got stolen, I'm definitely more aware of my surroundings because I don't go in the best neighborhoods sometimes.
mm,
So, that was definitely, I would say, being that I've always go to that particular stop, I got a little bit comfortable, I guess you could say.
mm-hmm,
So that definitely put me on alert, like, okay, Melissa, you can't be, lax in these
mm.
neighborhoods because,
And I guess
you
that
know,
would
you
apply to
it's
anybody, men
it's
or women.
yeah, yeah.
That would apply.
Because I
But
mean, oh yeah, I'm sorry.
oh, no, 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 go ahead.
No, thankfully, like I've never encountered anybody like robbing me for any goods on my truck or anything like that. I've never had to go through that. I mean, other drivers have, but I've thankfully I haven't had to go through that.
Good. I mean,
But
that is good.
female,
That is good.
if you wanna be in this type of job, it's definitely you have to know what you want to do, and you have to just be aware of your surroundings because people
Mm-hmm.
now, like, COVID is still a thing, and people are still not working. People are more eager to steal.
Mm, that is
So
true.
for a female, you have to be alert and aware.
Mm-hmm. But it's also good that your company will, if necessary, have a partner with you, like have somebody with you if you're going to an area that's, a little less safe or, what have you. So that's very good for your
Hmm.
company to do that. Very good. So do you have any regrets with, choosing this type of industry to work in?
My only regret, I would say, I wish that I would have done this sooner.
Wow.
I wish I would have thought about it because like when you go to school and you graduate high school and your parents, oh, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer, like the basic thing a kid would always tell their parents. I wish I would have had that drive to drive trucks when I was like 18 because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I would. I mean, I'm good where I am right now in life, but I feel like I would have been even more ahead if I would have driven trucks as soon as I graduated from high school. So that's my
Yeah.
only regret.
Wow. So you would have started sooner, or saw this as a opportunity as so you can have a really prosperous career here. Like once you drive trucks, you can move up in that industry and do more.
Mhm. Mhm.
Wow.
I mean, some people, some drivers, they're content with just driving.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I don't mind driving, but I would like to move up because at some point in time, maybe a few years down the road, I would like to buy my own truck and start my own company. So
Mm.
I need, like, I'm glad that I got promoted and I'm starting to learn like different things behind the scenes, and it's I'm definitely learning a lot. So when that time does come,
You'll be
I'm already
ready.
prepared on, yeah, I'll be ready.
Wow. So I mean, that's good. And that's what I try to tell a lot of people, like, especially if you're working somewhere that you enjoy. And, now we have, like, this is the land of entrepreneurship right now because everybody has kind of like their own. But as much on the
Yeah,
job training you can get, working for somebody else, take advantage of that so that whenever you do step out,
exactly.
you're good. It's like paid training.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
So that
I
is
mean,
good.
you have to, like, as for a female, like, if you're the type of person that loves to drive and doesn't mind driving long distance, and this is something that you choose to do, I would always tell a female to go for it, because
Yeah.
even though it's a male dominated industry, like some females get intimidated, and if this is something that you want to do, just go for it.
Just
It's
go for
either
it.
it could make or break you,
Yeah.
so
But at least if you try, you know, right? As opposed to
exactly.
wondering.
Exactly.
Well,
Because I
look, we,
mean, maybe you may not be comfortable driving the big trucks. Maybe you're comfortable driving a box truck. I mean, you never know. It
yeah,
all depends.
just don't let your gender be the reason you don't try because it's worked
Exactly.
well for you. We have some comments over here. So
Exactly.
Katrina, hi Katrina, how are you? She says, I'm so happy and proud to see you two ladies here representing much love and respect, ladies. Listen, Katrina, I
Hey,
am glad.
Katrina.
Yes, I'm glad you stopped by and you're watching and that you said hello. Thank you so much for being here and sharing the love and support. And then we have Jeremiah, proud of you, Melissa. Listen, you got a lot of people proud of you that for stepping up.
Thank you, guys. I feel so special. Thank you so much.
Yes, and hi Jeremiah. Thank you for joining and watching. As I explained to Melissa, and as if you've been watching, you know we've done this topic of life as and then we did flight attendant. Next week we're going to be doing life as a nurse, and we're going to be talking to somebody else. But the intention is to really shed light at the other career opportunities that are out there and hear from real people who work these jobs and understand what their experiences are like. And so Melissa is an example of a female who defied odds, not only decided to develop herself within an organization, but got the organization to get her. She even got promoted in the organization, and now she's a supervisor in an industry working for a company where she's the only female. I mean, that is so powerful because you're not sitting here saying, "Oh, I hate it." You're like, "Oh, I love this." And I'm doing well. So, this goes to show, ladies, if you're watching this, do not allow your gender to make you believe you cannot do something just because you don't see it
Exactly.
having already
Exactly.
been done. So, can we talk about one thing you said earlier, the process? So, do you if I want to be a truck driver and I don't currently have a CDL, what should I do? Where
hmm
should I start? Do I go to driving school? What do how do I get my foot in the door?
I mean, there's different ways you can go about it. I would, tell people to actually go through a school to get your CDL. It's sometimes it's costly, like, it could range anywhere between 1,500 to even $7,000.
Mm,
But you have to do your research on the schools that you want to enroll in, because not every school has your best interest at heart. They're
mm,
more of, I'm gonna just take the money and it is what it is. So if you're gonna go through training, make sure that that school has more than a 6 week training, because truck driving is a very serious thing. It's not gonna You're not gonna learn everything in 2 or 3 weeks,
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
it's even when you go on the road test, because the school is just going to help you gain knowledge and teach you how to drive. You have to actually, when you take the road test, you have to point out every single hazard you see on the road. Even if you see a garbage can rolling down the street, you have to tell that the instructor, hey, I see a trash can rolling in the street. You have to
mm,
point out every single thing, because any little thing that you miss, you can fail. And then,
mm,
of course, I would tell people, when it's time to actually take before you take the actual driving test, you can take the CDL in parts. You don't have to take the whole thing all at once. So you could go to the DMV and say, hey, I just want to take um, air brakes, or I just want to
mm.
take general knowledge. You don't have, because I did that. I tried to take everything at once, and I promise you, I failed it twice. The third time was a charm. I was like, I am not leaving this DMV till I
So you
pass
get
this
it.
test. And I did. Like, yeah, so you definitely have to do your research as
Mm-hmm.
far as school goes and the pricing, and see how long the training is. Because I've seen people that went through a whole bunch of training, and there's they still have nothing. So
Wow. And do you know, are there some
yeah,
trucking companies out there that like maybe I can get hired and get them to pay for my schooling or, do they offer it like that
there's
at some
yeah,
companies?
there's schools that like you could go through the training and you could actually work for them, because some of them would require that you do work for them maybe for a year, 2 years. So
Hmm.
I would think like that's the safest bet to do, to kind of get your feet wet. So if you want to branch off and do your own thing or go to another company, you don't really need to get trained like that.
Mm. So that's
But
good
I
advice.
did it the opposite way.
Well, that's good advice, though. I mean, maybe
I
I
did
can't
it the
afford the
opposite way.
class,
Yeah.
and maybe I can get a job at a company that offers that and go to school and get reimbursement. Because a lot of companies, let me just put
Hmm.
y'all onto something. A lot of companies don't advertise it, but they do have tuition reimbursement if you decide to go to school. And it doesn't have to be just for
Hmm.
a degree. It could be certifications, it could be licenses, it could be, any of those types of things. So definitely, even if you work somewhere now and where you work has a fleet department that has truck drivers, you still might be able to say, I
Hmm.
have an interest in this and go to school and get them to pay a portion of that or, tuition
Hmm.
reimburse you for that. So don't think you have to work at a trucking company to benefit from that reimbursement for education. So you might want to look into that if that suits you.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
that is definitely good. And so, do you see yourself? You said you see yourself, eventually starting your own business and driving trucks for yourself. Do you see yourself hiring other drivers and coming into your own trucking business, or do you just kind of want to have your own private fleet?
I think I probably would just have my own private fleet, only because, when you put somebody behind the wheel of your vehicle, you
Mm-hmm.
hope and pray that they do the right thing. You hope and pray that, nothing happens, because there will be times where, okay, I may send Joe to, let's say, Georgia. Joe might want to go and stop off in Florida and speak to his people when he's supposed to be driving it. Like, I don't want
Mm.
to go through all of that. And then, to keep up with your credentials is a lot, because if DOT pulls you over and you're not up to date with your credentials, it falls back on me. So I
Mm.
rather just, at least for now, I just want to just be private. I
Wow.
may change my mind later on, but for right now, I just want it to be private.
Wow, so I didn't even think about that. So the credentialing piece, right? And then probably so the liability, I guess, is a lot for
It
truck
is.
drivers
It is.
because of the Department of
Just
Transportation.
just off of liabilities that could just put you in a hole,
Mm.
and a deep hole at that, because, I know people, one of my friends, he started his own trucking business, and he had, hired like, three individuals, and, stuff went south, and he's in a deeper hole than he was when he started.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
like, yeah, he had to end up selling his trucks and getting rid of the company, because he is so much deep in a hole because of certain individuals. So
Mm. So you
yeah.
definitely have to be ready and know what you're doing if you want to grow and do
Hmm.
more and have your own. Because I hear a lot about like people starting their own trucking businesses, and I always wondered like what are the liabilities with that, because there's the DOT regulations, and then you gotta like, have you ever heard of or seen people like trafficking or doing anything illegal in these trucks?
Oh
Does
yeah,
that happen? That happens?
it really happens. Like what you see like on TV and
Yeah.
videos, it's real life. It's real
Wow.
life.
So that
You
really
know, I've
happens. People
I've
try to
I've
smuggle.
seen it. It really happens. It really happens, and then, you have drivers, they feel a little lonely,
Oh, okay.
you see a lot of things. You see a lot of
Wow.
things.
All of those stereotypes kind of, and I guess that's why it's not been traditionally women, right? Because it's something you generally see on TV. A man, truck stops,
Hmm.
men,
Hmm. Yeah, they call them lot lizards. I don't even know why they came up with that name, but yes, it's definitely real. You would definitely see that at truck stops, and you know,
because they're used to men. So look, if women decide to just take over
yeah,
this industry, we ain't gonna have no lot lizards. They name, they
at
might be,
all,
they
at
might be a little
all.
upset.
You took all their business.
Right. So it's good. So I guess so the downside of it is just the safety piece, right? And just being aware of your surroundings. But that's what any job that you're out in the fields with. And
Yeah,
um
and you would have to expect the harassment. You would have
oh,
to
the harassment, yeah.
expect a whole different things because you're a woman. Because,
Mhm.
for some reason, people are not used to seeing women driving certain type of vehicles. So
Mhm.
you would get harassed, but it's just how you deal with it. I really don't pay people mind like that. You feel how you feel, but
Mhm.
I'm still gonna be making this money at the end of the day. So
Right. And yeah, and that, so that's what you're saying. You have to have a tolerance. You have to anticipate and have a high
yes.
tolerance for the what you might encounter just because you're a woman, from random
Hmm.
people out there. Wow. Okay. So
Yeah. Like I would suggest people to just watch like certain like, YouTube videos and
mhm.
watch females as truck drivers and they explain their day-to-day lives and if that's something that you want to do, then just go for it. Like I would never tell a female not to go for something. If that's what you really truly want to do, just go for it.
Absolutely. And like with any other situation, just make sure you do your research, know what you're getting
Do
into,
your research. Hmm.
but don't let,
Research any schools
yeah, all of
that you
it.
want to do training with, all of it. I would suggest before you do all of that, go to the DMV, get the book, try
Mm,
to read over, try to get some type of knowledge. So if you do decide to go through a school, at least you'll kind of be ahead. You see what I'm
mhm.
saying? So,
And you talked about an app. You said earlier to download the CDL app.
yeah, so sometimes when we get sent to certain areas, we don't really know how to get there. And sometimes if you have Apple Maps, Waze, they may send you somewhere you're not supposed to be at. So I will tell people they have so many CDL truck apps that you could actually, have conversations with other drivers from different states. And sometimes
Mm.
those drivers have been in that area and they could kind of direct you to where you need to go. So you won't be riding around lost. You see what I'm
Oh my
saying?
gosh.
Because
So a little driver
I know
community.
I know some, yeah, it's like a real community out here, and and everybody that I've spoken to through the app, they are so supportive. They're so nice. They always check up on me and make sure I'm good. So I'm appreciating the support from men. Like it's overwhelming. Like my supervisor, he supports me to the fullest. Like I'm
Wow.
excited because I really and truly didn't think that I would be accepted like that in this field.
That's very comforting to hear that the people who work the job are very supportive of females, especially like at least in your situation. And it's sad though to hear that most of the backlash you've received have been from other women.
It has
Like,
like this this one woman, like I'm literally just sitting there, offloading a few things and she just comes out of nowhere and I'm just thinking she's asking about a job because on the truck, I have a banner.
hmm
So she comes to me, she was like, "You don't need to be driving trucks. Driving trucks is not for women. You need to be behind a desk." I mean,
oh,
of course, I said some few choice words to her, but it's just it amazes me that women, we're supposed to support each other,
hmm
and the fact that you don't get that support from your own people is very very disheartening. But
hmm
like I said, you're gonna feel how you feel, and I can't take that away from you. But I'm still gonna make my money at the end of the day.
right. And if anything, women, let's uplift one another, even if someone's doing something that you don't
Exactly.
see yourself doing. There isn't anything to say women can't do. So we shouldn't be our
Hmm.
own, enemy here. And so I just want to,
Exactly.
yeah, again, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story,
No problem.
inspiring women to really do, what they want to do and not let gender be a hindrance or a stop for you. If you want to own your own trucking company, own your own trucking company. Like Melissa is doing it
Hmm.
out here. And if no one says anything else to you, I wanted you to know this show sees you and we honor that because not enough people have the
Thank you so
courage
much.
that you do. So stay encouraged. And now you're officially a friend of the HR Plug. And so we will check in with you when you get your own fleet, your own, business to come back and tell us
Thank
about,
you.
that experience. So thank you again. And if there's anything you want to close out and say before I, let you go.
Just want to tell, women like, follow your dreams. If, driving trucks is what you want to do and you love, just go for it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Always follow your heart, always follow your gut and follow your dreams.
Yeah.
And, if anybody has any questions for me, I have Instagram, Facebook, LaShawn will probably give you the details.
Yes, I
So
will.
thank you for having me. I'm so happy to, be on your show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You got some people applauding you, Unikia Best. Wow, is that Unikia for real? Like Unikia Frazier. I'm wondering if that's her. But hi, welcome
Oh
to the
wow.
show. And thank you for watching. And Anthony says, yeah. And hey, Anthony, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And Kezia says, proud of you,
Oh, that's my
Melissa.
boo. Hey.
And Unikia says, yes, that is her. Hey, Unikia, how are you? Thank you for tuning in and
How are
watching.
you?
Listen, the support is just so. If y'all are watching, just make sure that you go on to YouTube and just definitely subscribe because I want to celebrate all of us that are out here, men, women, or whoever that are doing jobs every day. And sometimes you don't get a thank you for all the things that you're doing that are changing, the
Yeah.
pathways of things. And if nobody else says, you got it. And thank you, Unikia. We love this too. We love you for being here. Definitely, appreciate the support. Anthony has a message for you there, Melissa. Go to Empress. Yep, that
Go to
is.
Impress.
So, Melissa,
Oh
if
man.
anything, we hope that this encourages you. And when you're ready to launch your thing, let me know because the HR Plug is going to support you and we're going to give you a donation when you're ready to do your thing
Thank
to
you
help
so much.
support you get there because we want to see you win. We want to see everybody win and just keep inspiring and keep doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And so if you guys want to, if you have questions, don't ask me because I'm not going to know. So you can ask Melissa any questions that you have about just being a truck driver in general. If you're a woman and you want to break into this industry, you can reach out to her on Instagram. It is Black Empress 1982. That is BLACK Empress EMPRESS 1982 on Instagram, and her name on the screen there is her name on Facebook, and you can look her up and definitely send her a message if you have a question. That is what the HR Plug is all about. That is what this podcast is all about, being a resource for you all to give you what you need to thrive in the workplace and in your career. So thank you again, Melissa, for being here. If you want to just hang tight backstage, I will close out the show and I'll be right back. So, you guys, that was such an amazing, amazing conversation. Melissa, again, thank you so much because you are a trendsetter, you are a trailblazer, and you are doing things that some women dream of. But hopefully, after they watch this show, they will have the courage and the faith to just go for it and do what it is that they want to do. And if you're coming in late to the show, I just want to close out by just saying that our hearts go out to the families affected by what's been happening lately and the people affected by what's been happening lately, the schools, the grocery stores, the employers, the friends. It hurts everybody. I know not one person affected by these mass shootings, and I cried yesterday because it's just that impactful. And so let's continue to hold our leadership accountable to doing their job and what they're supposed to do, which is taking care of the people. And if you missed that message, be sure to watch the replay. Once I turn this off, it'll be on the YouTube channel. Just make sure that you watch that and get the word out and share and spread, because we definitely need to drive some change, and there's no way to do it unless we do something different. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next week when we come back, I will see you then. Have a great one and take care.